Hi there folks, my name is Ben, and on this channel I like to talk about tech, and in particular tutorials for developers and programmers, and every now and then, like in this video, I also make some twaddle, rants, skits, opinions, advice, just stuff that is different from my usual stuff. Before this channel passed the 1,000 subscriber milestone, for every 100 subs, I was creating one of these types of videos. Now, instead, I'm doing one of these for every 1,000 subs we get. These videos are special celebration videos to enable me to truly say thank you to all of you for helping me grow this channel. So in this special video, I just want to talk a little bit about a topic that is quite tricky to me personally, and I guess probably quite tricky to some of you out there too. I want to just talk about the concept of perfection and ask the question, does perfection exist? Now, I imagine that question is humongous, so I actually want to narrow the scope and approach it from the angle of someone that is about to release their project, the thing that they've created, to the public, to other people. So let's just talk about it and let me share my experience and my thoughts on the matter with you. Right, first of all, 2,000 subscribers. Holy shit. That is 2,000 individual people, you wonderful people, that actively want to hear what I have to say? Whoa. 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 I guess what I'm trying to say is whoa. Honestly though, that is insane. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for just watching my crap, for liking my tweets, for voting on the community posts, for the lovely comments that I frequently get, and of course for just putting up with me. You're the best. Of course, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, consider doing so, and if you like this video, give that thumbs up icon a little tickle. Righto, to the topic at hand, does perfection exist? No. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, but if you stop watching this video here, at least take away this message. One, to just go a little bit easier on yourself. Whatever it is that you're proposing to share with others, you've more than likely spent a lot of time and a lot of energy on it. You've already had more dedication and commitment than most to get to this point. So just make sure that you're not beating yourself up over this for the wild search for perfection. And secondly, whatever it is that you've created, if you enjoyed any part of that process, or if you believe it will be to the benefit of at least one other individual, then it will be perfect. So let's just get into it a little bit deeper. We're talking particularly about the moment where your project becomes something private that you've worked on yourself, and it stops being private and it becomes public. Other people, whoever they are, maybe it's one, maybe it's many, they can access your creation. It, whatever it is, whether in my case it's a code project or a game or a book or a poem or a theatre piece or a script or a piece of music or whatever it is, it can be accessed by some amount of people across the world. The problem that we're talking about isn't the accessing of said thing. It's instead focusing on the creator actually pulling the trigger, hitting the submit button, allowing that thing to be accessed by others. This moment, to actually find the courage to hit that submit button. This might surprise you, but every time I release a video or go to post a tweet or anything like that, there is this moment of hesitation. For me, personally, this moment is one of the hardest things to do. A brief moment where I'm gearing up to actually submit and release, but a moment where actually maybe I'm not ready to release the thing, maybe I've missed something, maybe there's a mistake, maybe I should just watch it over again, maybe I should just reread the thing, and so on and so forth. And I don't think it's just me that suffers from this. It's this thinking that whatever it is that I was about to release isn't perfect. That maybe if I just don't release now and go back and reread it, redo it, tweak a couple of things, maybe a couple of hours, you know, maybe a couple of days or weeks, that at some point, then it will become perfect. Then I can release it. And sure, maybe that's a good idea. So you go away and come back a couple of days later, ready to release that thing again, but the same doubt, the same hesitation hits you. You don't hit the submit button, you go, let me just read it once more. Let me just look back over that again. Maybe I'll write more tests. Maybe I'll go away, make sure it's perfect, and come back again later. Before I carry on down this rabbit hole, let me just say outright, I am not an expert. I am not any kind of professional or psychological expert on any of this stuff. Everything that you're about to hear in this video are my own opinions and things that I think I've learned throughout my experiences. So why is there this moment of hesitation? This moment, this boundary that we have to overcome in order to release this thing? From my own experience, I believe it's simply because we've spent, as individuals, so much time and energy and effort creating this product, creating whatever it is that we've put so much loving energy and effort into, that we want it to be the best it can be. Of course, you wouldn't want to put out something that is, in your own opinion, just garbage, right? You wouldn't want that. You want to put out something that is really good in your own personal perspective, so that when other people get hold of it and take it in and enjoy it or watch it or read it or play it, they too are of the opinion that this thing is really, really good. And they get the most out of it that they could possibly get out of it. And the only way that they're gonna get the most out of it is if it is perfect, if it is at the top of its game. And that feeling is not a bad thing at all. In fact, it's vital. It drives us forward to create things that are mind-blowing, that are innovative, that are creative, that make people ask questions and experience feelings. But herein lies the problem. We're chasing this thing called perfection, this ambiguous label that basically says that thing, that perfect thing, is at the top of its game. It is the best it can be. There is nothing that could happen to that thing to make it any better. It is done, and no amount of changes could make it better at what it does. And just saying those things out loud, hopefully, like me, you're hearing them and thinking how ludicrous the concept of a thing being perfect really is. And I think that in 99% of cases, we can all agree that this thing called perfection is unachievable. Things, whatever they be, will never be perfect to everyone. And that caveat is an important bit I'm going to come back to in just a second. There will always be something that was maybe in a tiny way messed up or even missed or broken or wasn't right or wasn't exactly right. These imperfections or mistakes that stand out to you, it is very, very likely that no one else will even notice them. When you're creating a thing, you're approaching it from your incredibly detailed, specific, focused angle. Someone else consuming that product will not be focused on these tiny, minuscule, detail-oriented things. They'll be just experiencing the whole thing. More than likely, they won't even notice that you fudged that lineup or dropped that thing or missed out an incredibly crucial detail. And in fact, let me just tell you about one of my personal experiences with this very idea. As a kid and a teenager, I was involved with a lot of theatre and stage productions. And one of my biggest fears whenever going on stage was simply that I would make a mistake. I would fudge a line, I would drop a thing, I would trip over, whatever it was. I would make a mistake and the thing would not be perfect. Until one day my director gave me this piece of advice that has stuck with me forever. He told me that the only people that will notice my mistake is me and the other cast members. He said that the audience, the people that it was intended to entertain, won't even notice. And depending on how you react to your creation of a mistake, might even think it was intentional. I know this doesn't sound like much, and it might not even actually translate into your particular use case, but for me, that blew my world right open. Because it got me thinking, actually, he's right. The audience is seeing this production likely for the first and only time. They, unless they've attended before, have no idea about what is about to happen on the stage, the story, the things that are about to unfold, the actions that are taken, the items that are moved. They have no idea. So it's entirely feasible that me dropping a pair of sunglasses on stage was meant to happen. Not only that, but if I reacted to that mistake in some way that made it look even more intentional, then was it ever a mistake? This really changed my thinking. It made me feel a lot less fearful about making mistakes, and in fact, it happened to me. I won't go too deep into the details, but there was one production where I had to do something physical, and I couldn't ever get it right, and things, I think it was a pair of sunglasses, slipped out of my hands and would always hit the floor. Working up to this moment, it always terrified me because I knew that I could never get that sort of action right. But after getting that advice, the next time the glasses hit the floor, I did something different. I played it off. I can't remember exactly what I did, but I think I picked them up, made some public open joke to the audience about how cheap these glasses were and threw them off stage, not only making it look like it was intentional and that I'd reacted completely confidently in the situation, but also as a byproduct, getting those glasses off the stage because someone might slip on them the next time they pass by. The audience had no idea that those lines were never in the script or that the glasses weren't meant to fall off me because, and this is the important bit, the audience is not noticing the fine details that you are focusing on. They are taking the entire entity and experiencing that, whatever it is. You, the creator, is the only person that is, with a magnifying glass, looking at every fine pixel of detail. So maybe now, equipped with that information and the thought that perfect doesn't really exist, let's go back to the moment of hesitation before hitting the submit button. Again, the feeling is not a bad feeling, it's necessary. It's because you care so deeply about the thing you've created. You want other people to embrace it, enjoy it, love it. Otherwise, what's the point? The intention when you made the thing was never for you just to make it and for you to enjoy it for yourself forever. Oh, yay, my thing. It was always for other people to get a benefit from it. And when you realize that perfect as this ambiguous standard that you set doesn't really exist, that's a huge weight off your shoulders. And here's another thing, your version of perfect is entirely different from someone else's version of perfect. Again, that goes back to the whole audience not noticing your mistakes kind of thing. They're seeing the whole bigger picture. To them, it might be perfect. And this next point is absolutely crucial. When this hesitation comes, you probably think as well that this is my one and only shot at getting this right. And of course that just makes the moment of hesitation worse. And again, sorry, this might not translate into everybody's use case, but I would say that often, no, this is not your one and only shot. For me, in my world, the example is code bases. These code bases, they don't just stay stagnant and static, they don't never change. They change, they have to change all the time to keep up with the technology. So in those cases, the thought that this is your one and only chance to get it right, that's nonsense. You can make changes and release it again a couple days later. If indeed there was some sort of crazy mistake, some fatal flaw, well, in that example, you change the code and re-release it a couple days later, a couple weeks later. And actually that brings me nicely on to a quote from someone far more clever than I am. And the quote goes like this: release early, release often, and listen to your customers. So whatever it is that we're creating, this product, this thing we're going to put out there, as soon as it is an MVP, like a minimum viable product, it does something, it does the thing that you intended it to do at some level, release it. Get it out there. And then listen for feedback. That is so important. Listen to how your customers, your users, your learners are using and interacting with that thing. Then take that feedback, and if you agree with it, implement it, create it, change your product to include that feedback, and then release again. Release often. Release early, release often, listen for feedback. That is so important because remember, your intention was never for you just to use it solely. It was for others to use it. And if others are giving you feedback in order to make it better for them, for the masses, for the people, then logically that feedback will make your product, more perfect for your intended audience. So really, if you are aiming for perfection, this thing that doesn't truly exist, then you need to release early. You need to hear back from your audience, whoever they are, and then you need to change your thing, your product, your whatever it is to make it more perfect. I hope that makes sense. So far we've talked about that perfect this aim, this destination is essentially unachievable. 2, that your audience will not notice the same detailed mistakes that you do. And 3, that this is not your one and only chance to put that thing out there. And really, you should put it out early in order to get feedback to make it better. And finally, let me share with you one more real world story, and in fact, the base reason that this video is even being recorded right now. A wonderful friend of mine is creating his very own tabletop role-playing game. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, you can think of something similar to like Dungeons and Dragons. His game is entirely different than that, and it's brilliant, but let me tell you about his story. His aim was, and still is, to create this entire tabletop role-playing game system that contains everything a player and a dungeon master will need in order to successfully run this game and get enjoyment, entertainment, fun out of it. His aim is to take all of these systems and rules and stories and lore, maps, character creation things, and put them into a book that he can sell. Something absolutely brilliant that he did right from the start was involve us, his friends, to play test that thing. So for the past few months, we have been play testing his game as it has been changing and developing over time. And that is a powerful thing. He released early and got feedback from some players, from us. He would often ask us questions, how we felt about it, listen to our criticisms, and that, I think he will agree, enhanced the game, made it better over time, better and better, building on it. There was times throughout this process where he would look back and tell us, oh yeah, that was a really silly thing, that was a mistake, I shouldn't have done it like that. And we all sort of turned and looked and were like, that was a mistake? We thought that was a really interesting, quirky feature. Again, pointing back to the fact that the audience is not noticing the same mistakes or imperfections that you are. And he's now at the point where he wants to release it. Not like release it like it's a published book ready to go, but release it for free to other people outside of our friendship group so they can play test it. That is a superb idea. Again, release early, release often, get feedback. But he hasn't released it yet. Not because he doesn't know how to get it to the people. We're talking about posting it on Reddit, at certain subreddits and different forums on the internet. But instead he's still working on it, tweaking things, making new lists, changing details here and there. And it's really interesting, when we were talking about this, I told him that in one of the early sessions, I genuinely had the feeling that this was a finished, polished game. Maybe it was all just down to him, but I felt like everything that I wanted to do, I could. It had been thought about. There was rules for it. I felt the system flowed. I had fun. I enjoyed it. Again, my perspective of done, perfect, was different to his. Recently, he said the words to me that it is nowhere near done. And yet here was me, a participant, a player, that thought it was done months ago. Because it's his thing. He's created it. He wants it to be perfect. So he's working on it, he's tweaking things, he's changing things. And towards the end of the conversation, we talked and we came up with this god-awful analogy, but I thought I'd share it. We talked about how he was a caveman and he had built this fire. This fire was big and beautiful and burning bright and warm, but it was just him around the fire. And he was dancing around the fire like a maniac, and as bits of stick and twig crumbled, he would dive into that section and fix it. Or as an ember flew out of the fire, he'd pick it up or kick it back into the fire. He was wearing himself out, maintaining every aspect of this fire. And we talked about how now is the time that he needs to stop dancing around the fire on his own, tweaking and changing every bit, but instead invite other people to come and sit around his fire, to share in its benefits, its warmth, its enjoyments. And then when there's people sat all around the fire enjoying it, giving positive feedback, they will also be in those positions to notice the embers or the twigs breaking and be able to give feedback. Because then not only will his caveman self be able to sit down and take a breath and relax a little bit, but he'll also be able to take a step back and see how other people enjoy and interact with his fire. Again, that is a god-awful analogy and really cheesy, but I just wanted to include it because maybe the visual is a little bit better. And for those of you that are now yelling at the screen, well, hey, he wanted to monetize his product. He's just giving it out for free. I too had the exact same question. And he explained to me something that hopefully translates to each of your situations too, that the people that would actually pick up the thing that he's released are a select few. They are passionate people that are committed and interested in testing this thing that is not yet complete. They are dedicated and have a passionate interest in this case, tabletop role-playing games. Sure, they might be getting a free early version of the thing now, but these are also going to be people that follow the journey, see how it changes, and they're going to be invested in the thing because they gave some of their time, their feedback, their energy to it. They're going to be invested. And most likely, he explained to me, they're going to buy the actual book when it's done. And the other side of the coin, he explained to me, in his situation, there's people that probably don't want to try out an unfinished system, something that isn't polished or done or in an actual physical book form, but that still would get enjoyment and entertainment and benefit from the actual finished product. And those people will obviously, when the book is ready, finally in his case, would just buy the book. Anyway, one last thing that he said that I'd like to share is this. He said, done is better than perfect. I absolutely agree with that for all of the reasons that we've covered in the past, however long this video is. But I'd also like to give it my own spin, and that's this. Released is better than perfect. Because maybe the thing you're working on is never truly done, but if it's released, if it's in the hands of people that will use it and get benefit from it, not only are their lives better because of it, but you're also getting valuable feedback in order to make it better over time. That's a lot of words, and again, I'm not an expert on this topic at all, just my own experiences. In fact, I would love to hear your point of view. If you have differing experiences or opinions or advice, please post them in the comments down below. I would love to continue learning on this topic, and hopefully we can help other people too. And the final thought, just to close out this video, is this. Just release the thing, hit the submit button. Trust me, it'll be fine. Go for it. The final little bit is, hey, can you get that? I'm making a video. Hello? That's weird. Where's the postman? Weird. Huh? An SD card? Nothing ever went wrong from plugging in an SD card, right? Right. Let's take a look at what is on this mysterious SD card. Papa. Weird. Papa. Let's have a look. For you, Papa. This is weird. Let's just open this For You, Papa file, I guess. Find more information there. I have found you, Papa. Oh my god. Oh my god, wait. It's Kadel. It's Kadel. Wait, oh my god. What? How is this? How is this happening? And that's it. Thank you again for all of your support. Thank you so much for getting this channel to grow and getting it to 2,000 subscribers. That's absolutely bananas. Of course, if you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button to be part of this crazy growth. And of course, hit that bell icon if you want to be notified when I release new videos. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time. That's echoey. I have no idea what this video is going to turn into. Hopefully it's good. It's probably not. 1,000 subscriber. 2K. It's so weird. 2K. Right. Wow. Can't use that. What is that? Alright, least. Oh my god. Keep my arms low. And in fact, that brings me an SD card. I'm sweating. I'm so sweaty. This is so gross. Look at that. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. Maybe I skip this bit. Yeah, skip this bit. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Why couldn't it have just been a bloody terminal tutorial? All right, let's get out of here.